Hi, my name is Jackie Lee Price and welcome to Shadowboxruk. Hi, my name is Jackie Lee Price and welcome to Shadowboxruk. We're here at the Rathbone Boxing Club in London with Ben Vickers. How you doing? You alright?
I'm very good, thanks.
Firstly, congratulations on turning pro.
Thank you.
Good to hear it. So you're a bit of a fighting man. Let's talk about your past. You were a former kickboxer, and then you made the transition into amateur boxing, and then now you're making that transition into to boxing, as in professional boxing. Let's talk about your kickboxing career. You were a champion, weren't you?
I was a champion of a couple of small, regional promotions. I fought for European titles, and I had a decent run in kickboxing, but it was never really something that I always knew that I wanted to be a boxer. That's where I knew I was best. So I originally wanted to turn pro straight after kickboxing,
Right.
but I met Chris Ocko, and he very rightly told me to do a couple of seasons in the amateurs just to get used to. But boxing is it looks easy, but until you get in there with a high-level boxer, you don't realise the difference between being a kickboxer with good hands and actually being a pure boxer is a big difference.
Well, there's a different stance as well, and a different distribution of weight and all that. Did you find that difficult?
Yes.
To make that changeover?
Yes, especially when you spar high-level boxers, you kind of get your arse whooped, and it's okay, I made the transition, and it's the best thing I did, because I got that seasoning in the amateurs. So yeah, I had about 25 fights in the amateurs.
And how long was that? How many years were you an amateur for?
I went to Miguel's in 2016, October 2016, and I've obviously just turned pro now, so about 3 years. I did 3 seasons.
No, that's not bad. And you entered a couple of national championships, didn't you?
Yeah, I got really unlucky in a couple of the first year. I fought Vidal Riley in the London final. I got cut inside the first minute, and they stopped the fight, which I think is a joke. Amateur boxing is only 3 rounds, so I don't understand why they're going to stop a fight due to a cut. If it's a 12-round fight, it makes sense, but that was hard to take. But I came back the next year. I got cut again against Sharif, which was again first round. It's my fair skin or whatever. I just cut easy, but so there was 2 London finals in a row where I got cut, and then obviously third time lucky I won it, and got to the semi-finals of this year's ABAs. I should have won it, but I kind of.
But do you know what? Considering it was realistically 3 years in the amateur game, and it takes quite a long time, doesn't it, to make that change, that switch of stance and distribution of weight. And yeah, you did so well in the amateur boxers. Yeah.
Well, I think I was always a boxer at heart. Even when I was a kickboxer, the main thing I used was my hands. So yeah. And
so you're turning pro.
Yes.
Cruiserweight with Chris Ocko, a
yes.
very good friend. So how did that come about? How did you guys kind of meet? I know you said you met him in the amateurs, but how did you meet him? Because it's 2 different scenes, obviously, isn't it? The kickboxing and the boxing.
It's funny. I actually met him through when I was a kickboxer. I used to spar a UFC fighter called Jimmy Manuwa, who's at one point in time was one of the best light heavyweights in the world. And he trained Jimmy.
Oh,
so,
okay, I didn't know that.
Chris works with a lot of MMA fighters as well as boxers. So obviously, I met him through there, and we just kind of hit it off instantly, and that was that.
And what's really great, I suppose, about working with Chris Ocko, because he was the former trainer of Dillian White, wasn't he?
Yes, yeah.
Before Dillian changed over his team, but I mean he's a fantastic coach, isn't he?
Very good coach.
Do you feel lucky to be part of is he not going to be your manager and your coach?
Yeah, he's going to be my manager and my trainer. Chris is like a second father to me. He's one of the best men I've ever met, and on top of that, he's an amazing coach. He's a former Commonwealth champion as well, so he's no mug. He knows what he knows his stuff, and
Yeah.
he's a great trainer, and I'm excited to finally get the ball rolling with him. I'm making my pro debut on Mo Pryor's show. So
Your call?
Your call, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm excited. It's the start of a crazy journey, but something that I've been working towards for a long time. So
I mean, you seem to have really slotted in place and look very comfortable. I mean, how has the transition been between the amateur side and the pro side in terms of the training?
I've always trained along and sparred with professional fighters. Even before I was an amateur boxer. I've always trained with high-level fighters. So I guess that's obviously what's made me. When you say I'm comfortable, I don't know if that's what you think, but
Yeah.
I'm quite lucky, obviously, because Chris, he knows a lot of people, so I've been lucky enough to spar a lot of these cruiserweights, and I've sparred some really good fighters, and that's why I'm confident, I guess.
So with that said, thinking about the cruiserweights that's on the scene at the moment, is there anybody that you think, yeah, do you know what, I'd really like to, not call them out, but somebody that you would like fighting? So, the types like Richard Rakaport, or even McCarthy, Irish McCarthy at the moment, who's technically very savvy. Or is there just anyone out there you think, right, I want to have this many bouts and then go for a fight with them?
There's a few names. I mean, I don't want to name names, but I'm about to have my first pro fight. I can't get ahead of myself. I've just got to build up my record. There's a lot of good fighters in this country that I eventually will, see myself in the ring with. But I'm not one to call anyone out.
I'll be rooting for you. I'll be over at the York Hall. Really looking forward to seeing you making big waves in the pro game. And for Chris as well. So looking forward to seeing you box, and thank you very much for giving us your time.
Thank you, Jackie. Thanks a lot.
If you like this video, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you're not a subscriber of Shadowboxruk UK, we'd love to see you, so please go ahead and subscribe now.